Hi, everyone. This is Kristan Hawkins. Welcome to this special episode of the Explicitly Pro-Life podcast. I'm so excited to have you all joining me today because we have a very special guest, the Attorney General of the state of Mississippi, Lynn Fitch. You've heard a lot about General Fitch recently, and you're going to hear a lot more about her in the coming weeks and days as we get ready for the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health hearing at the Supreme Court on Wednesday, December 1st. And you'll certainly hear a lot about her after they're done arguing on behalf of the state of Mississippi and this pro-life law as we get ready for the Supreme Court to give their decision probably this June in this historic pro-life case. Lynn Fitch was sworn in as Mississippi's 40th Attorney General, and she was the first woman ever to assume this role on January 9th, 2020. Before becoming the state's chief legal officer, Attorney General Fitch served as Mississippi's elected state treasurer for 8 years. Prior to that, she was selected by Governor Barbour to serve as executive director of the Mississippi State Personnel Board, and she also served as deputy executive director of the Mississippi Department of Employment Security and as a counsel for the Mississippi House of Representatives Ways and Means and Local and Private Legislation Committee. She is a record-breaking attorney general. That is what you need to know about her. She is also a single mom of 3 kiddos. So you know she's got it going on, and she's the best woman we have to do this job, to go before the Supreme Court to argue for why the decision in Roe was wrongly decided, why it needs to be reviewed, reversed, and returned back to our state. So we are so excited to have her on today. Thank you, General Fitch, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kristan. Thank you for those kind remarks. I really appreciate it. But first and foremost, thank you to Students for Life, and the organization is just awesome. Thank you for the synergy, putting everything together. It's really so wonderful to see the young generation ready, stepping up to be so involved in the pro-life movement. So many thanks, because there's a lot of hours, time, commitment that has gone into everything that you all do. And I'm so grateful. My team is so grateful. People across the country see what you all are doing. And it just makes a huge difference. And it just sends a strong message that, hey, our generation believes in what we're doing for pro-life. And again, to be so positive and be so involved. So many thanks for what you all are doing. I am so humbled to serve in this position. It's such an exciting time. Again, I've got a fabulous team. To come back to this position after having started my career here, it's extremely humbling. We have certainly a number of things going on, and the Dobbs case is definitely the biggest case that we have going on right now. Certainly will be probably in my lifetime, and certainly the biggest pro-life movement case that we've had in 50 years. But it is very humbling for me to be back, to lead this team. You know, we've only had 4 women in 200 years ever hold statewide elected office. So I'm very honored to be part of that group, and then to come into this position, and then to have this magnificent case to be able to go to the Supreme Court on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's there's been, so you mentioned the word synergy, and I think that's so true. The entire pro-life movement is galvanized and mobilized around this case. And I know you're kind of leading the charge. You've got a team there where you guys are putting together the Empower Women, Promote Life rally at the Supreme Court the day you'll be arguing this case in front of the Supreme Court justices. We'll all be outside cheering you on, praying for you and your team as you're inside of the court. There's also going to be a watch party there in Jackson. I think Students for Life is helping you all put some logistics together for that at my local college. And we want churches and schools to also host watch parties, because this is such a historic case. So before I forget, I do want to mention there's a website where folks can go to sign up to host a watch party. It's attorneygenerallynnfitch.com, LYNNFITCH. You'll see it in the lower third below, where you can sign up if you're listening, if you're tuning in, to host a watch party for this historic case. I guess, General Fitch, would you mind describing, just to back up, because I read your brief to the court and it was so strong this summer. But I guess for those who haven't read your brief, can you tell us why you personally are pro-life?
Oh, absolutely. And again, I'm so excited that you all are doing the bus tour and all that you've done. So we're excited for December the 1st. And, you hit on something that's so key for all of us, the support, the prayers, the lifting everyone up that's involved. Again, it truly does create a synergy, and you can feel it all across our country. For this case, again, so honored that the state of Mississippi was selected to take this case. And when it did, we knew this was a very different case. This is a very special case, very important to me, to my team, as we looked at it and said, 50 years has gone by. We really need to write the brief that's very strong, that really has a very engaged dialogue about women and protecting the sanctity of life, their babies, but empowerment. So we wanted to write the brief in a holistic manner, that we talked about the women, how we are there supporting them through the process after the child is born. How did we look at it from a totally different perspective? Because remember, all these cases before this case that we're getting to argue have all been in, different unelected judiciary members. And they've been creating whatever lines they wanted to, whatever they thought their decisions and the boundaries were for viability. So this is the first time we get a chance to say, this is a special case. And in this case, we want to talk about the women. We want to talk about how they no longer have to make a choice between their careers or having children. You can do it all. Like I said, as you said, I've got 3 wonderful children as a single mom. And that's extremely special to me because, again, I had the opportunity to move forward with my career, but at the same time, have the joy of my life raising 3 beautiful children and now 3 little grandsons, which is hard to believe. But so we wanted to be very diligent about our message. We wanted to talk about empowerment. We wanted to talk about women and their babies. And we also wanted to talk about protecting the integrity of the medical profession. So we hit it very strong, and we asked very succinctly, this is the time to overturn Roe v. Wade. This is a state law question, rule of law that needs to be given back to the states. The unelected judiciary don't need to be making those decisions for us. So it needs to go back to the states. We all elect our policymakers, our legislators, our governor, and they are charged with creating policies, enforcing policies in our states. And then you know what? They're accountable. If we don't like their policies, we go to the ballot box, right? We elect someone else.
Right.
That's our voice in that regard. So there's nothing in the Constitution that mandates this is a right to abortion by the Constitution, nothing in the text, the script, history, nothing. It is truly a rule of law question. So we argue that as well so that it can be moved back. Now, certainly if they come back and it's and they allow us to do that, you're going to see states have all different laws, but that's the way it should be.
That's right.
We're excited about it.
Preparing for it at Students for Life. That's why, we've been working so hard to create and support more than 1,300 groups in all 50 states and train up 130,000 leaders. Is that, at that moment that you mentioned, if the court does choose to return Roe back to the states, we will have state battles, battles at every capital city about what your state's abortion law should be. And we're going to need the whole of the pro-life movement mobilized and trained and ready to go. I think what was so unique about your brief, and I know the brief that Students for Life wrote, along with our friends at Human Coalition Action, was we really were focusing a lot on women. I think what you said just a few minutes ago was so powerful. Of women really can have it all. You're a single mother. You're the Attorney General of the state of Mississippi, now a grandmother, and now you're going before the high court and doing what so many of all of us in the pro-life movement, especially pro-life Gen, have dreamed to do, is argue for the reversal of Roe, to argue on behalf of millions of preborn children. So I think you and your personal story is a testimony to that women can have it all. And it's not easy. Any mother will tell you, whether you're married or single, and whether you've got all the money in the world or you're struggling for funds, it's going to be hard, but we can have it all. We don't have to fall victim to the lies of the predatory abortion industry that tells us that we're not strong enough to choose both. So I want to thank you for taking such a strong stance and really speaking out on behalf of women and how strong women really are across the country. I certainly know the feminists across the country won't be thanking you for your stance, but I think it's very much a pro-woman, a feminist stance that we're taking, saying that women are capable of having it all. So I know your time is short. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate you. You went through all of my questions I was going to ask you in your response. So you did great. You explained the significance of the case and what we're going to be arguing and why this matters. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into this, and know we need your help. We've got the See Me Now National Bus and Live Ultrasound Tour going across the country soon. So I've just kicked that off in Jackson, where I just missed the Attorney General. We're going to be gathering at the Supreme Court while Attorney General Finch is inside arguing on Wednesday, December 1st. We need you out there with us. We'll also need you to come back in June in Washington, D.C. We need folks to host watch parties. If you can get to Jackson, join our watch party that's happening in Jackson, Mississippi, where this case began, or host one at your church or at your school. So make sure you go to Attorney General Finch's website. It's attorneygenerallynnfinch.com. You can also learn more about our tour at studentsforlife.org/Dobbs tour, DOBBS tour. And stay tuned to our social media for how you can sign up to join us at the Supreme Court in December for hearing day, and then June in decision day. And if nothing else, start praying now for the justices. Start praying for Attorney General Finch and her team as they go before the high court. And as my good friend Terry said in Jackson this weekend, we have high hopes for the high court that this case will lead to a reversal of Roe versus Wade and Doe v. Bolton. Take the decision of abortion back to states where we can work state by state to make abortion illegal and unthinkable. Thank you all for tuning in.